Do you know, I literally have never done this in my life. No, I've never ever done. I've never operated. I may not be able to do it.
So when we were kids, we used to live in a place called Hartswood, and the tree, which was in the garden, leaved beech or beech-leaved oak. I think there were about 3 in the country. And so Mum named the company after the house with the tree. Yeah, so Vertue, my mum started the company in 1981, quite a while ago.
We make scripted programmes, comedy and drama. Yeah, Hartswood are one of the last true indies. We've been asked to join other companies numerous times, but I think we love that independence of being able to create and work on the type of programming that we really want to make.
Yeah, I mean, Mum started up Hartswood on her own, and she was on her own for ages, really, and didn't really have a project either. She worked a lot with Robert Stigwood, and he said, Beryl, can you go and do that? Can you go and do that? And she never thought anything was hard, really, because he just told her to go and do something. You don't think, it's going to be harder for me because I'm a woman. You just go and do it because you know that you can do it and you're capable of doing it. I think if you go ahead and think, this is going to be a problem and there's so few women in the industry, and you're starting from a disadvantage, I think.
I was a runner for a long time. I was a runner for about 4.5 years. I don't think it's because I wasn't any good. Actually, in those days, you had a union. And if you couldn't get into the union if you didn't have a job, and you couldn't get a job if you weren't in the union. And then I really, really wanted to be an assistant director. So I just sort of stuck at it, really, and eventually I got into the union, and after that I just had a fantastic time and worked my way up through the AD roles. I was a third, and then I was a second, and then I was a first.
First of all, got in the industry, I think the same way that most people do. I was a runner. My sister was already an assistant director, and I was trying to work in the city. She got Tony Scott, the director, to speak to me. And he had a commercials company, so I went and I was a runner's runner in a commercials company. And then I sort of worked my way up from there, so I became a PA and a production manager, and then a producer, and then I went into the TV world, and I went backwards and became a production assistant, and then a production manager, and then a producer. So it was quite a different world, actually, between commercials and TV.
You know, most people sort of stick in one. They either stay in film, or they stay in TV, or they stay in commercials, and I moved around quite a lot, and I really, really enjoyed it.
You know, we've got quite a bit of family, really, here. My sister. I mean, I adore working with Stephen, my husband. We worked together for ages. I mean, the first thing we did was coupling, which was about the 2 of us getting together in the first place.
Well, it's an absolute joy working with my wife. I mean, she's sitting over there. It's an absolute... people always ask that question. We rear children together. Right, that's work. If you can't work with your wife or your husband, what are you doing married to them? Dear God.
What's your day-to-day? What do you do?
So what I spend most of my year doing is writing scripts. Sometimes, obviously, when we're in production, we've been in production a lot recently, I'll be on the set, I'll be having meetings, I'll be watching rushes, I'll be attending edits.
He also really does understand production, so he'll write something and even in the stage direction will go, it's not really, it's a bus with about 6 people in it or something like that, you know what I mean?
I very, very much wanted to be a playwright when I was young. What happened in my case, and it's not a very instructive story, is that there used to be an old religious program called Highway, presented by Harry Seacombe, was one of the goons back in the day, and he went to my dad's primary school, where my dad was a headmaster. He said, I've got this idea for a children's TV show. The producer of Highway's girlfriend, Sandra Hasty, came back to the school and said, look, I'd like to develop your idea of a children's newspaper. And my dad said, okay, but only if my son is allowed to write a script for it. They really loved the script. And so I ended up actually writing Press Gang, which was the show that resulted from that. So that's how I began. That's how you do it. You get a religious broadcast asked her to come to your father's place of work. I'm not sure how much advice is useful in that.
Most successful program?
Sherlock.
Sherlock, I am certain, is the biggest hit I'll ever have. I'm certain that it will, because it's so enormous. Once you've been a hit in China, you're probably done.
Well, Dracula was fantastic that we made that last year for BBC and Netflix. When I walked on that set, it was like it took me back to my years of when I worked on a feature film. And I've never seen a set that big on television, so that was immensely exciting.
Our industry, we know we need so many more people in the industry. And yet, if you talk to people in schools and colleges, they go, oh, it's such an elite industry, I'll never get into the industry. And somewhere in the middle, there's a disconnect. We can't quite get through.
You want to work in this industry, there's a job for everybody. Doesn't matter where you come from, what you think your strengths are, what you know, what you don't know. I just think this industry has a job for absolutely everybody.
This is an incredibly desirable industry, and it's a very desirable business. That means there's a lot of people trying to get in. It has never been better than now. Right? Get that through your heads. It is way better to be alive now and trying to get into this industry than it ever has been at any point. Now you have on your iPhone more technology to make a TV show than I can imagine. There's a better camera on that than we used to make Doctor Who on.
We are here. You've got, you can come and work. If you like makeup, there's a job for that. If you like making models, is a job. Oh, just everything. Sound, technical things.
It's not exclusively made by writers and directors and producers. Every walk of life is represented in television. You're an accountant. We need loads of accountants. You're an electrician. Dear God, do we need those? If you want to be part of television, if that's your passion, whatever you do, there is a place for it here. The magic is in the fiction. Everybody can be part of making that happen. Yeah, it absolutely can be you. If that's what you want to do, there is every chance you can.